Okay. So I'm Remy Pangle. I have met Diane before, but Jane, I've met you before. I work with JMU. We are the Center for Wind Energy, though we do wind, solar, and other alternative energies. And my focus at the center is K-12 outreach. So I work with a lot of schools, and I'm going to turn off my video camera so that we save the bandwidth.
Okay.
You're welcome to do the same. I promise I'll keep talking.
All right.
And so one of the things that I do, we do lots of different things to help K-12 educators get renewable energy education in their classroom. But one of the main things that I do is host these KidWind challenges. And so that's what I'm here to tell you all about. I'll turn it over to Diane. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Diane Painter. I'm a retired K-12 special ed teacher. And then for 12 years, I was a teacher educator at Shenandoah University. What I'm doing right now is I am a member volunteer, sort of helping to connect Makersmiths, which is a maker space organization in Loudoun County, Virginia, with educational outreach initiatives. And we are interested in the KidWind Challenge, possibly forming some teams within our nonprofit Makersmiths to enter the challenge.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. And Jamie, go for it.
Okay, I'm Jamie Garst, and I'm the principal at Andrew Lewis Middle School. And I know very little about KidWind, but I just hired a teacher who is a rock star at KidWind, and she sent me the information, and this is hoping to learn more in my school.
And so can you tell me where your school is? I'm not familiar with that school.
I'm in Salem, Virginia, and the teacher is Wendy Grimshaw.
Wendy, of course.
Wendy came from Botetourt 2 years ago, and she worked in a different school in our division last year, and now she's going to be teaching 6th grade science for us this year. So
fantastic. She is a superstar. You're so lucky to have her.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for being here. I think you're going to find interest in this. I'll basically start from the beginning. So this is the KidWind Challenge, and I'll tell you a little bit about KidWind. KidWind was formed by Mike Arquin, who was a science teacher, like a middle school science teacher, in 2012. It's based out of Minnesota. And they strive to make wind energy education better for students, and they make materials and tools that are accessible for classrooms and educators, really hands-on kits. And so KidWind, when they started, was selling their product, their tools and materials, and now, since then, they have sold the product line to Vernier. So if you're familiar with the Vernier probes, you can go to the Vernier website and purchase the kinds of materials that we'll be talking about that the teachers would need to get started with a project like this. And then the big thing that they focus on now is the KidWind Challenge, so this culminating experience. So this is their mission. The big thing is just getting students super excited about renewable energy, really making sure they understand this relationship to global climate change, making sure they understand that there are jobs in this industry, so creating that awareness of careers in STEM fields, especially renewable energy fields, and really just building up the capacity for teachers and coaches, be them teachers or parents, to better understand and educate their kids about wind energy technology. So the history in terms of KidWind challenges, they've been offering challenges. This is nationally since 2009. These statistics may be a bit outdated. I think they have another year of information to be added to them, but roughly 15,000 teachers have been trained on the wind energy materials and tools. Over 800,000 students have been impacted. They've held 147 challenges across 22 states, which this year was 23 states, or 24, so they've hit a couple new states. And Recharge Labs is kind of their sister company, where they're doing mostly professional development. And they've trained over 200 instructors on the Recharge curriculum or kits, which now include wind and solar. So it's kind of a mishmash of companies here. So in 2016-17, again, these statistics are a bit late, are a bit old, but they're trying to make sure they have good diversity in terms of age ranges, but also in terms of males, females, and underrepresented populations. They have expanded into all of these different states, and they have an online challenge, and they do the teacher trainings, and they have the challenge events, and they just have a huge impact around this country. So we're super excited to continue to work with them to offer challenges in Virginia. So just to give you the super quick basic background, the KidWind Challenge is an engineering design competition. We have two divisions. There's a middle school division and a high school division. Our middle school division starts at 4th grade, so 4th through 8th, and then the high school division is 9th through 12th. What I love about this competition is, the goal is that they need to build a wind turbine. So the only requirement, and there's some modifications to this, is that they have to use the KidWind generator. So this is the generator that you buy from Vernier. It's the standard generator. That way, everybody's using the same generating capacity. So that's the only requirement. Then they can build the rest of it however they want to. The requirement is that it has to fit in the wind tunnel. There's a bunch of other rules, but compared to like a robotics challenge or a first Lego League, the list of rules is like a half a page. So it's nice, it's real simple and very open-ended and allows a lot of creativity. The other thing I like about this is if you look at this pie chart in the middle here, only 35% of their score. So roughly, and this varies from location to location, how people interpret it, 35 to 40% of this is based on their turbine and how much energy it produces in the wind tunnel. So that means that more than half of what they're judged on has to do with how they can explain themselves, justify their design, show the documentation of their engineering design process, and show a knowledge of wind energy as a whole. So you can see the turbine design. That is done by presenting to judges. And you can see on the left that picture of the two kids in the blue shirts with their turbines and the 3 gentlemen sitting there. They are presenting, they have a 10-minute window where they can present, explain their turbine, justify their design, and go through all their documentation. And that's another 50% of their score. And then there's the knowledge quiz. And the knowledge quiz is literally a 15-point multiple choice quiz that they take as a team. And so that way we can start asking them questions about climate change or, misconceptions about wind energy, how much a wind turbine generates in terms of power. So that way it's not just about the engineering, they have to actually understand the context. We've been holding KidWind challenges here since 2012. We started with 1 challenge for 2012 and 2013. Then we realized that there were more people that wanted to get involved and they didn't all want to travel throughout the state. So we started offering regional challenges, a northern and an eastern. Then we got crazy and offered 4 of them in 1 year. And then, we've kind of gone back and forth between somewhere between 2 and 4 challenges. In Virginia, we've had over 170 teams participate. Over 2,000 students, coaches, judges, and volunteers have attended our challenges. And in 2017, every team from Virginia that competed in the nationals actually won an award or placed, with Wendy's team still the championship of the high school division nationally. They still talk about them. And then in 2018, our national challenge was in Chicago, and we had 12 teams qualify. I think 10 teams went, and I think 6 teams came back with an award or placed or something. We even had the Coach of the Year came from Virginia, so that was pretty cool. So we're pretty well known at the national level as a force to be reckoned with. This year, with continued support from Dominion Energy, we are offering the 2019 Dominion Energy KidWind Challenges. And we are planning to offer 4 regional challenges this year. And then we have recently talked about adding in a DC challenge. So we're currently working on that with George Washington University. But we are looking to have a Northern Challenge, a Central Challenge, a Southwestern Challenge, and an Eastern Challenge. And we're aiming for universities, so Shenandoah University in Winchester, UVA in Charlottesville, ODU in Norfolk, and Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. So that means that we've got a challenge nice and close to each of you guys. So we look forward to having teachers from your districts get super involved since it's nice and close.
Yeah.
One thing I think is important for you all to know, because we are focused on getting these kids interested and excited about wind energy, but also making sure they understand that there is a career opportunity here. We do try to get a lot of industry support, either through sponsorships or by the judges that come to the competition. And so this is just a brief list of some of the industry support we've had in the past. And we do really try to open that up to a wide range of parts of our industry. And then lastly, this is, I think, why we're all here, is, this all sounds great. What do I do to get my teachers encouraged to prepare a team? And so before we get to all this stuff, I'm going to stop, see if you guys have any questions about anything, and then I can go through these bullets here that kind of explain what we can do, what we're planning to do to help your teams, help your teachers prepare a team. You guys have any questions at this point?
So in order for, in my organization, I have 2 adults that would like to be mentors for this. Myself and a woman who works as an environmental engineer who's also a Makerspace member. So would we each pay $10 for a KidWind teacher training? And I'm the only one who's a certified teacher. That's my question.
Yeah, we call them teacher trainings, mostly because it's 90%, a very large percentage of our coaches are teachers. But this is basically, I guess you could call it a coach training. So if you're planning to coach or lead a team and really want to better understand and get your hands on the equipment and, try it for yourself, this is a time where we will bring out the wind tunnel, we'll bring out the data monitoring equipment, we'll bring out all the pieces and parts. You guys can build a tower, play with blades, build your blades, ask lots of questions, kind of experiment on your own so that you have a little bit of background information and research so that you can encourage your kids in the right direction. We'll talk about, at these teacher workshops, we'll also talk about strategies for preparing a team, dividing your team into committees, or, so half of this is your person who's photographing everything, and these are your documentation people, and these are your blade people, and I don't know. So you can break it down, and different kits that we offer that you could borrow to prep kids, or activities or planned experiments that you can do. So it's really a coach prep class.
So you're planning to have these coach preps in each of those 4 regions?
Correct.
Okay.
So like Winchester, once we get through the webinars, which we hope we'll get through webinars by early September.
Okay.
That way we can start getting our boots on the ground in each of the regions. We'd like to hold a teacher training or a coach training in each region. Then a couple weeks before the actual challenge, we will also have what we're calling a practice day. And so probably about 3 weeks before the actual challenge, we'll basically go to a public location, like in Winchester, we may go to the museum, and just open up a big classroom with a wind tunnel in it for kids who are available that day who want to test in the wind tunnel because they've never seen it. They have no idea what it's going to be like. It's very different from testing in front of fan in your classroom. So we want to give them the experience of trying that before they get to the competition. And also it's a nice time for us to be able to talk to some of the teams and make sure, like last year, we hosted a practice challenge and I had a team show up. They were super excited, and I looked at their design and I said, I'm sorry, but your blades are illegal. So you need to fix, so they had to come up with a whole new blade design. So it's better that I found out then, and they had 3 weeks to get ready for the challenge, than the day of the challenge being like, I'm sorry, you can't compete. So there's lots of reasons for those practice days to help out.
Okay. And those coach trainings will be on a weekend or after school, or?
That is a good question. I have not actually determined that yet. We are in the process of booking a lot of these dates and things. So if you have advice or thoughts for teachers in your area, if they would appreciate a 2 to 3 hour after school kind of event, or if they would rather have a longer session, like say 4 hours, Saturday morning, you know, we're open to ideas, but we just want to maximize participation. So whatever advice you have for us, we'd be happy to hear it.
Let me ask a question real quick. How big is a typical team?
That is a great question, and Diane asked that before you came on board. So a typical team, I would say probably 4 or 5 is a good average for most people. I've had teams of 1, and I've had teams of 16. So we don't really dictate what you're allowed to do in terms of team size, but 3 to 5 is kind of that sweet spot.
Okay.
Otherwise, you start getting to the point where nobody has something to do.
You mentioned a generator purchase from Vernier. Is that a one-time thing, like you purchase it this year and then it'll be good for years to come, or do you have to buy that every year?
No, that's a one-time deal, and if you have a teacher who's interested in being a coach, if they register for that teacher training, I will give them a free starter kit, and the starter kit is a generator, a hub, and a bag of dowels. Use the dowels to connect your blades to the hub, and it's like a little patented mix.
Well, since Wendy's done this already, does she need to attend that teacher training, or is this stuff she probably already has?
She probably has all this.
Okay.
I'm pulling up the Vernier website, like I said, in case you care. This is what I will give everybody, this basic building parts.
Okay.
See that? It's a dowels, the hub, and the generator. So you probably don't even need all that stuff, but for someone who's never done this before, this is a good starting point. Otherwise, it's like a $100 kit. Now, Wendy probably has it all. The bigger, her kids built their own generators, so
wow.
I hope she's got generators laying around, but if she doesn't, it's not, I mean, I can give her a generator. I'm not too worried. They're like $3, so
okay.
I'm happy to just give them to people who need them, but if you come, it's more of my my ploy to get people to come to a training, is that they get the free starter kit, and then they pay $10 to come to the teacher workshop, but if they register their teams after the workshop, they will get a $10 discount on the registration. So basically, they invest $10 up front to go to the training so they can get $10 off when they register.
Right.
Great.
So it's still the same cost.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so for we do try to have resources available for the teacher who has never done this before, because I know it can be a very daunting task to take this on the first time. And so the teacher training is huge, and I think that'll give them a much better sense of what they need to get started. But we tried this last year, and I think it was a good success for those who participated. We offered something called a coach prep class, which basically was a conference call once a week for an hour. And on that conference call, coaches, any coach that wanted to participate could call in. And last year we had like a coach who had been doing this for 5 years, and then a coach who had never done this before. And I thought it would be me, like giving sage advice and all this stuff. And I didn't even talk on these things. These teachers were like mentoring each other, helping each other, talking about challenges and sharing successes, and just, it was fantastic. I was there to help with, like we did a mini lecture session on gearboxes. Like, how do you build a gearbox? Why do you need a gearbox? What is a gear ratio? So we did some little things like that. But most of my part in all that was, hey guys, don't forget our challenge is coming up in 2 weeks. If you haven't registered, register. You know, don't forget to bring this the day of the competition. Just like logistical things from my end. And then the teachers really just mentored each other. And they got CEU credits if they needed it.
Oh, okay.
So it was only like 1 CEU credit, but for an hour call, like for 10 weeks, I mean, it's like a no-brainer if you need them.
Yeah.
So we will probably start that. I probably need to get that working, but I'll probably offer it again this year, starting at probably closer to October, November, because we have a lot of teams that start preparing for KidWind like the second school starts.
Yeah.
So we'll have coaches prepping teams starting in October.
Well, that's good, because that's what part of my problem is. It's just trying to get a hold of these families to see if they were interested, because everybody's on vacation.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I will probably open registration up all of our challenges as soon as I have the dates secured. So again, I'm hoping by September I will have all the dates and locations of all of our challenges secured, and I can open up registration ASAP. Also for all the teacher trainings, because we'll have a registration for that as well. So everything I'm hoping to have everything in Eventbrite before, you know, September, maybe mid-September, so that everything can be registered for. So, and we do have a website, and I'll just go there in case you guys have not seen our website, but it's not the most helpful of web addresses, but our center website is under construction, so I just don't really have a good place to put it right now. But anyway, this isn't updated yet, but when it is updated, this is the place you can come to learn what is the KidWind Challenge. We've got some videos that you can watch. You can see our sponsors. These are last year's sponsors, so that'll change. There'll be challenge details is a description of we have a couple of different versions of the challenge that you could register for last year. I think this will change again. This is the basic KidWind Challenge, and it talks a little bit about the quiz, and then it's got the rules and the rubrics, so you can see what they'll actually be judged on. And then this is the Advanced Wind Challenge. We piloted this last year. I think it was a success. We're trying to get more high schools involved, and I think a lot of the high schools, especially the CTE folks, are like, this is just a kit. This isn't CTE. So we open this up to high schools or anybody who wants to do this, but the key is you cannot use any KidWind parts, and you have to build your own generator. So you can't use the little black hub, you know, you can't use the blue nacelle that comes with the kits. You got to build everything from scratch. And so we're going to change this a little bit this year, but for the most part, this is going to be another option in hopes to get more high-level high schools involved. Under practice challenges, we'll probably also have, you know, the teacher workshops in here, but it'll have all the details about where and when all these practices and teacher trainings are going to be. You can register for those. And then each regional challenge will have its own tab. We always list all the judges under here so that you can meet your judges in advance. So there's Wendy. She was a judge last year. And then there's information about the national challenge, and then you can't see it here because of this guy, but it's not wanting to let me see it. There's this helpful resources button over here, and this has got stuff. This is stuff that you'll see at the teacher training if you come to it. We've got some informational videos about KidWind, hopefully are still working. There was a webinar last year that was held by KidWind that just talked about what it is, kind of like what we're doing now. There's some educational resources like a summary of kits and things that you could buy to prep your class. We taught a summer camp specifically about KidWind Challenge, and this is a lesson sequence that we used in case that's helpful. There's lots of wind energy pacing guides out here with lots of free resources. There's the Virginia website for your parts, and then a whole section on building a generator. We have a local expert who sent us a lot of different YouTube videos and documents that would help somebody who's trying to build their own generator. So we hope that our website is a good resource for teachers to get more information.
So to be clear,
pretty much everything I have for you. I have to admit that I probably do have to get off the call in that like a couple minutes because I have an appointment at noon that I have to get to. So I'm sorry about that.
So to be clear, Jamie and I represent middle schools right now because I have one middle school student. So we would not be in the Advanced Wind Challenge since we're middle school?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, so in other words, could Jamie's school and Makersmith build our own right from scratch? We don't.
You could. I mean, the Advanced Wind division was created to encourage more high schools participate. We have a lot of trouble with, I think, just getting high schools to participate in general, and some people told us it's because it's called KidWind. So Advanced Wind, you know, it dropped the kid part. That it's a little bit of a different competition than the middle school division. So if you've been doing this in middle school and you get to high school, you just kind of want to grab onto something a little different. But we would not be opposed to middle schools participating in that division.
Okay.
It was, yeah. And if you read the section, it says we are aiming for high schools, but we will not be restrictive.
Okay.
If you want to try building your own generator, go for it. And actually this year, KidWind had some folks at the Nationals that were using a KidWind generator, but they were making so much power that they were literally melting the generators. So there's going to be this kind of mid-range where it's a bigger generator than the KidWind generator, but it's not a home-built generator. So there's going to be kind of that middle ground this year. It's all kind of in the works right now, so I'll have more information on the bigger generator as those details come out from KidWind.
Okay.
We're planning on winning it all, so don't worry about that.
Always, always. Well, and I went back and I stopped sharing my screen. But the next step for us is that we're going to be holding teacher webinars. Like I said, later in August, maybe into early September, where the teachers that are super excited, think they want to do this, can log in, and this will be a webinar where we'll go over the rules and the details of teams and answer like the more specific questions, and then they can sign up for the teacher training. Well, they'll get the hands-on component of prepping the teams.
Awesome.
So we're trying to kind of whittle it down to, you know, offering it to lots of people in hopes that those most dedicated are the ones that are going to show up at the table. So.
Does Wendy need to do that? I think Wendy's actually going to bring along another teacher. Kind of mentor
anything Wendy may, I might hit up Wendy to help me teach the teacher training.
Awesome. Okay.
I don't actually have any really good folks in that region, so she might be a really good resource to just kind of co-host that with me.
Okay, great.
And we don't have a place to hold it, so if you want to open up your school to a teacher training for local teachers, you know, we haven't booked a location for our training yet. So
our doors are wide open.
Well, maybe we should talk about that offline, because I think, like I said, we need to book these spaces. Big thing is that I need to figure out where we're holding it at Tech, but we have a local faculty member who's helping us get into some spaces, but we'll want to pick a month before January and pick a date and just get it on the books.
Yeah, Wendy has a gigantic classroom, or we've got plenty of space here, so yeah, you just let me know what you need.
Sounds great. Well, I'll be in touch with you about that later then.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. If you don't have any calls, I probably do have to boogie.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I look